I'm Dan, and this is 10,000 Hours of Indie, a podcast exploring new music and delving deeper into what goes on in the background of the independent music industry. I've been a musician and passionate music lover for as long as I can remember, and spent a stupid amount of time listening to mostly new music every week. Get involved and help grow this community. Follow on socials, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, and soon a YouTube channel too, and email me 10,000indie@gmail.com if you have any ideas or want to get involved in the podcast itself. I'd love to hear from you. Hannah Rose Platt released her fourth album, Fragile Creatures, on Friday the 25th of April. From the UK, Hannah is a singer-songwriter whom I saw supporting Ed Harcourt last year when I ventured to Stockholm for a show. It's 12 years since her first EP was released, and I'm excited to delve into some questions about her music and influences. Hello, Hannah. Welcome to the 10,000 Hours of Indie podcast.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have a proper chat with you after meeting you briefly in Stockholm last year.
Yeah, that was a great gig. It was a mad night and a great gig.
It was good for me because I'm a massive Ed fan, and I haven't seen him since he last played in Finland about 11 years earlier.
Wow.
But when I used to live in the UK, I actually almost followed him for an entire tour around the country on his second solo tour, I think it was. So, and I'm somebody who always makes the effort to try and see the support band, and I'm really glad I did.
Thank goodness for you. We love people like you.
Well, to be fair, when it came to the Ed gig, I think pretty much everybody was there for your show, to be honest.
They were delightful. Those audiences out in Scandinavia, they really were. It was an absolute joy, the whole tour.
Excellent. So first up, what influences you to make music?
It's usually when I find something like a nerdy subject that I can't let rest or won't leave my brain. I find it quite tricky to write just for fun. Well, not for fun, because it's always fun, but just for a random reason that I seem to there's something that gets into my brain that I can't start wrestling with, and writing something about it will be the way I investigate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I really like about your songs is there's a lot of history and research in the way you write. It's almost like proper traditional folk songs, but turned into a bigger picture. With this album, you tell stories about women and medicine in particular. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a bit more about how you came to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it would have been Christmas 2023. I had a book voucher from somewhere that was still sitting, a digital book voucher that was still sitting in my email. And I thought, I'll go down the local bookshop, because it's like for independent bookshops. So I'll have a little treat. I'll go down the independent bookshop down the road and have a little look. And I found this book, and I'm going to be honest, the cover was what struck me first. This is sort of beautiful flowers and bones and very colourful. And it was called Unwell Women. And I looked at the back, and it was, documentation of how women have been sort of mistreated in medicine, and the myths and the superstitions. And I was like, that'll make some good festive, cheery reading. So I bought it and just inhaled it over the Christmas holiday. And then I'd already been, it's weird and serendipitous how some of these things happen sometimes, because I'd already been sort of dipping my toes in stories around that theme anyway, and doing a bit of my own research. So it just sort of felt like the next step really to delve into that. And then as I was reading, the song was just I was overwhelmed with ideas. I could have probably written 2 or 3 records about it. And then it was a case of making as many notes. I am just a big nerd, so making as many notes, of like going down my own little rabbit holes. And then I had too many ideas. So I had, in this little office here that I'm in, I ended up just doing the old school thing of getting loads of black folders and laying them on the floor, labeling them this idea, this, and anything that, because they would come so thick and fast, anything that was related, I'd write it down on a scrap of paper and just put it in that folder. So these folders all started building, and then I have to, actually sit down and write some songs at some point. It's like, which one do I want to start with? The whole thing took about 3 months. It wasn't a really, really long project, because I was totally immersed in it, really.
I assume from what you've said that your lyrics came first for this album.
Again, this record slightly different from other things I've done, but the ideas were coming so thick and fast that it was sort of concept first for everyone. The concept, the idea, the story came first, and then I'd have maybe some musical ideas or textural ideas or themes and then they go in, and then lyrics would come, and then it would be polished. It was almost like, the best analogy I can give you is just like, when you're cooking a meal for like 10 people and you've got lots of pots and you got to watch them all and they're all sort of simmering and cooking at the same time. If that makes sense. That's kind of what it looked like.
So tell me a little bit more about your musical background overall.
Yeah, musical background. So I've always played guitar, kind of self-taught really. I was taught a few chords when I was about 5 or 6 in primary school, how to play like the Grand Old Duke of York. And my stepdad, who's been my dad since I was 5, always played guitar, and I think I learned a lot from him, sort of by watching him through osmosis, and he taught me little bits and bobs, and he gave me my first guitar when I was 5. So that was always there. And then I always wrote stories, poems. I was always fascinated with writing, and it didn't really occur for me to put the two together till I was around 15. And it was a youth worker who's still a lovely friend now. Her name's Caroline Murphy. She came to my school and we were playing sort of covers in the band, and I was singing with a couple of my guy friends in the band. And she heard me noodling on a guitar one time when she arrived early, and she was like, "Why are you not playing guitar in this band?" So my very good friend was not happy with me that he got demoted and I got to play guitar, but he took it okay. We're still friends. Okay. Yeah, and she said to me, there's a big gig in town, like a proper professional gig that you can play if you want. The only caveat is you've got to write an original songs, no covers. So I was classic me, like love a good deadline. All right, how long have I got? Here we go. Let's give it a go. And then I just never really looked back after that.
So you're a deadline person. If somebody gives you a date, you're better work into that.
Oh, totally. I booked the studio time with Ed before I'd had a note written. This is happening, and this is the only way. I have to baby myself or panic myself. If I know something's coming up and I've got this amount of time, it's like I'm great. But if I'm just left to my own devices, it's not so good.
Yeah, I'm the same. That's pretty much why I have this podcast. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm a big Ed Harcourt fan. He produced and played various instruments on both this and your previous album. He is quoted as saying on your website, "We've created a Sonic Jackson Pollock of blood and sweat."
Yep.
What do you feel he brings to your music and ideas?
Oh, I just love working with Ed. So I feel like with Ed, the two of us just turn into primary school children in the studio looking around at what we can make noise with. And I think the thing I love about Ed is that he's the first person I've worked with, and I don't mean to discredit anyone that came before, but that didn't try and tame any of the ideas I had and actually turn the volume up on them. And I think he appreciates kind of my imagination and I appreciate his. And it's like a meeting of these two sort of wild imaginations. We have a lot of the same tastes in terms of art and cinema films. We're both big film nerds. So we can talk to each other using that language to create sound. So for example, the Edinburgh 7 on this record, I was like, right, okay, I've got this image. It's like a Tarantino film. There's 7 women doctors in the 1800s with their big skirts marching down the road, like the close-up of the lenses on their feet, and then we zoom out. And I want it to sound like Tarantino's made a film about this gang of 7 women. And he's like, gotcha, know exactly what to do there. So it's that excitement as well. I think we just speak the same language really in terms of kind of creativity, and we have similar goals, and we're both kind of try anything and see what works kind of people as well, which is good. There's nothing's off limits. That's always good when it comes to making music. How much do you take to the studio when you go there? Do you take a fully formed idea or just a rough sketch of sort of a guitar and vocal, or what do you bring to the table first of all? It varies from song to song. So the song's always completely written. So all the lyrics are done, the harmony's there, the melody's there. And I've got notes of what I want it to sound like, kind of sonic ideas. For songs such as like Magdalene, that'll just be me, the guitar part, the lyrics done. For songs such as like Yellow Wallpaper and Curious Mixtures, I had already created a feel on Logic myself. So drum patterns, beats, how I want the pace, the feel. So I'll give him a nod to what I want and a feel, and then we'll for Yellow Wallpaper and Curious, we built on the things I'd already done. And then for other songs, we'll start. So for example, Radiant, I'd written that on piano, but I don't play piano very well. But so I've got a great right hand, no left hand. And bless Ed's like, do you want to play it? I'm like, am I going to come to Ed Harcourt's studio and play piano myself? Like, thank. And he's like, oh, I just didn't want to assume. I'm like, bless you, no, please play it. And he played the part that I wrote. But then, he had great ideas for that in terms of the textures and the synthy sounds. So it really does vary from song to song, really. But I never go in sort of without an idea of what the end product could be. But then at the same time, we're not wed to that idea either. Yeah. And it's very different from in the past where I've gone in with a song on an acoustic guitar to a producer and they've sort of taken over. It's very much a collaboration.
No, I know the feeling with piano. I got given an electric piano about 14, 15 months ago, and I started banging out these tunes. And then I thought, I've got to find a pianist to play these because I can't, I can clonk away chords, but that's about all I can do. My left hand is my better hand.
Together and between us, we've got, both hands there.
So this is your fourth album. What do you think you've learnt so far on your musical journey?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's so funny because it feels like my second, because I feel like Death by Confessions was the first one that I sounded like me and all my ideas were out there and there was no limitations and nothing was tamed. But you're right, this is the fourth record. And I think the first two were sort of me. You can see sort of the development there. They're all story-based, so there's still that there. So what I've learned, I guess, is that there are no ideas that are too mad. And to follow my gut, I think, and find people that allow that imagination and allow that creativity and kind of will go down rabbit holes with me. And I guess, to find people that don't have a preconceived idea of what this is before you've made it.
Yeah,
Take each day and each song as it comes and have fun. I think that is a big one. It should be fun. And I think from Death by Confessions onwards, it sounds fun to me when I listen back. I can hear the fun we've had making it, the records. So, yeah.
So how long did it take you to record the album?
Death by Confessions, we did the whole thing in 5 days. So everything was sort of written, ready to go. And it was brilliant. It was the most intense week. We recorded it, do you remember in lockdown when there was like, we're in lockdown. Oh no, we're out. We're back in. And it was like that first little window we had where we were allowed to move around. That's when we did it. And it was just the most fun week. I mean, Ed, not only is he an amazing musician, he's an incredible cook. So it was just like staying at his house, making music, eating amazing food. Brilliant. 5 days we were done. I think we had an extra day for listening to mixes and things, but it's quite fast and they're long days, but a lot of fun. And then Fragile Creatures we did slightly differently. I went in a few chunks. So I had the first 5 songs done. I went in for 3.5 days. We did those. And then I had another couple of songs done. I went in for 2 days. We did those. It was a little bit more spaced out as they were done. I'd go in. And that was great actually, because you get to listen back and see how it's forming and what kind of feel other songs might need to keep it varied.
Did you come back to anything and change it afterwards once you'd listened back?
Not really, no.
Right.
I think because we have such fun conversations beforehand and we're on such the same page. I mean, mine are things like, it's more taking things out, or maybe remove that doesn't need to be there, or like just fine-tooth comb things rather than big changes. Mm-hmm.
So when I saw you play live, you played solo and duo with your partner Freddie, which I'd like to say congratulations to him on finishing the London Marathon.
Oh, I'll pass that on. He'll be really moved.
I saw your video of him. And actually, he didn't look too tired. I was thinking, bloody hell, 26 miles, and he looks quite okay.
That was mile 20 as well that I was at. That was really the period where I imagine it's like not close enough to the finish, but you've been running for 20 miles. But every photo we saw, like the official London Marathon photos, and all my other friends who were sort of watching him at various other points, he just looked like an excited Labrador the whole time, like just loving it. I'm so proud of him. It's so well.
Yeah, no, it was. I admire anyone who can do that. I'm lucky on an evening if I can get up from the sofa to go to the kitchen. So. But anyway, yes, when I saw you live, you played solo and duo with Freddie on bass, and he did double duties with Ed as well. So hats off for that, because I couldn't play for coming up to 2.5 hours. How do you find playing such a stripped back set when you've got such full-bodied songs on the album?
Yeah, well, it can be tricky, and especially with Fragile Creatures, because we only played we played a couple from Fragile Creatures, but they were the ones that lended themselves quite easily to just a duo setup. But we did a few installs last week, so we do have a full band shebang coming up in London on May 28th, and that's like sort of the official launch celebration. But Freddie and I did some installs last week, and it was really fun. So we just kind of upgraded our pedals and dusted off some old toys, and we've just been playing around with loops and textures and different effects, and it worked really well. We managed to do even things like the yellow wallpaper built up from a loop, and got a little stomp box bass drum kind of thing that I'll play with my fingers and loop that, and we'll get all the mad sounds. So it was a challenge, but a good one. It's
almost like being an engineer on stage at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. Lot can go wrong. I was really nervous before the first one, but then I was like, I know how to do this. It's just a few more buttons.
Do you prefer playing that way, or do you still prefer a full band show?
I think I'd get really sad if I was only ever allowed to do one or the other. Yes, so I think I really, really enjoy both. The camaraderie and the energy of the full band is just, nothing compares, really. It is good to be challenged. I had to rearrange songs for different setups and different lineups, and some of them, it depends on the room, I guess, and the space and where you're playing. I think a balance of both. Yeah, yep. I'm just greedy. Yeah, I want both.
I know what you mean. I mean, I've played solo shows and I'm in a duo at the moment. I have a covers band, and everything brings me something different. So
yeah, that's a good. Yeah, it does bring something completely different. Yeah.
Your website says you're endorsed by Tech 21 New York, meaning you must have an exciting array of tricks on your pedal board. How did that endorsement come about?
We went to New York just before the pandemic, like a couple of weeks before everything closed down. Actually, crazy. And he had been sort of putting the pedals he used on Instagram and stuff and tagging them in, and he just messaged them on Instagram and said, I'd love to come around and have a look at the factory, because I know a lot of these places, the workshops are open and you can go in, and Freddie is obsessed with how things are made. Like, slight side note, the other day I caught him eating some cornflakes, watching how it's made cornflakes. I was like, what are you doing?
You posted that online as well.
He told me to. He was like, that's quite funny, you can put that online. So he wanted to go and see how the pedals were made. And the VP of Tech 21, who's an amazing woman called Dale, she looks like Chrissy Hine, Debbie Harry rolled into one. She's like our rock and roll fairy godmother kind of person. She was like, oh, it's really boring in the factory. I'll just take you out for dinner. Let's go for dinner. So we went for dinner and we just had an absolute ball, and she was asking me what I did, and I ended up coming away with deals. For me, what I love about Tech 21 are the Sans amps. You don't need to take any amps, basically. No amps needed. And you have complete control over the EQ, the tone, and the sound yourself before you send it out, which is just brilliant, especially for now. I barely use acoustic, even in duo shows anymore, because you can get much more creative with the effects on the electric. And yeah,
I was going to say that, actually, because your solo show or solo duo show, I was impressed by the fact you had the balls to use an electric, because I couldn't do that solo. That freaks me out. There's every error I make on an electric sounds horrendous, whereas an acoustic I find much more forgiving.
Yeah, can be. I think it's so funny, actually, because I've just realised in this moment that I tend to play the more delicate songs on the electric and the more umphy songs with a bit more gumption on the acoustic. So
interesting way round.
Even though we did an EP year before based on Scandinavian folklore, because we were going out to Scandi. That was another deadline. I had 4 weeks to get that done. And the first one is like really rocky and swampy, and it's acoustic. There's no electric.
My favourite tracks are The Yellow Wallpaper and the Edinburgh 7. Can you pick out one song you feel would represent the album best to a first-time listener?
That's a really good question, because they're all so different. I've been wrestling with this myself.
It's like, which baby would you give up?
It's really, really hard. When I've been trying to sort of tell people about the record and give people, who are a bit close to me hints of what it would sound like, I've usually used two. So I've maybe chosen Radiant and Le Grand History or something. So something like really rocking, and then something really delicate and unusual. If I had to pick one, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know to represent what it would be as a whole.
I think you've whittled it down well. One of each, sort of, yeah.
The opposite end of the extreme, and then you've got everything else in the middle.
So your first album was self-released, the second was on Continental Song City, and the third and the latest were on Extra Mile Recordings.
Yes.
Would I be right to think that you've sort of found your home now?
I hope so. I hope I hope to hold on to them, and I hope they want to hold on to me. It's working well so far, and they're a really great label. They're really fair, and it's really supportive and encouraging. Yeah, it's been just lovely being there, like working with them. I feel a lot more settled, I guess, in a way, since meeting them.
Do they give you complete artistic freedom?
At the moment, yeah. The Deathbed Confessions, that was actually all done. I had everything done, and I was all set to self-release it, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just shop around and see if anyone's interested in this, and they were. And then when I came to make the EP, actually, the way that happened, that was the next thing, which was also me and Ed. We were going to Scandinavia to support Frank Turner, and I had this idea that I'd write a song about, it was Halloween, and I thought I'll write a different song about the horrible folklore of each country, like the different countries we visited. And the label were like, great, do you want to do an EP of that? Because I was just going to do it live. So that was great. And then when I came to make Fragile Creatures, I just said, I really want to make another record. I want to make it about this. And they were like, go for it. Great, thank you.
So is it all done album by album? You just take an album to them and say, would you be interested?
Yeah, all canon. would you put this out?
Well, if you're ever coming to writing something about Finland and a person in Finnish history, because I'm based in Helsinki, if you ever come to doing that, there's a Finnish soldier who was in the Second World War, Eero Koivisto or something like that. But it's an incredible story of how he got lost from the rest of his battalion and he went off on his own and he wandered for about 5 days.
Wow, I'll definitely have to be doing some research on that. Thanks.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, definitely. What's coming up next? You've got a run of 16 nights at the Edinburgh Fringe in August, was it?
Yes. Can't wait for that. It's going to be really good. So we're performing Fragile Creatures at the Sergeants' Hall on Nicholson Street, which is now a theatre, which is the very room where the Edinburgh 7 sat their exams. And that happened really serendipitously. I didn't know that, but it was a whole thing. We're a little bit spooked. I'm super excited to be doing that and just sort of getting involved in the atmosphere of the Fringe. I've never been to the Fringe before, so we're looking forward to performing, but also getting involved and seeing things and soaking up the atmosphere. 16
nights, though. That's a lot.
Our show should be amazing by the 17th day. We should be like so well oiled. But yeah, really looking forward to it.
And then you've got a show coming up in London and one in where was it?
Well, we've got the next one is the big Fragile Creature celebration, which is May 28th at the Water Rats in King's Cross, promoted by Greeno. And then we've got one in Worthing, I think. It's the Hear No Evil sessions at Hear No Evil, which will be lovely because we haven't played in that neck of the woods before. And then it's sort of like batten down the hatches and prepare for the Fringe after that. And then hopefully get some autumn dates in autumn tour. We'd love to get back out to Scandinavia as well. We were talking about with one of the promoters about coming back out in the autumn. So
you should come over to Finland as well.
Yeah, we came once. We did when we toured with Frank. We played in Finland, which was great. But yeah, it'd be nice to actually spend. This is the thing: you spend one night we spent one night in Finland on another plane, one night in Sweden on another plane, one night in Norway. So you don't really get to see anything. It's lovely to meet people there.
Are you already thinking about the next album? Have you already got the folders laid out on the floor?
Ideas in my head, yeah, I do. That there's books under there looking at me to be read under that table for the next couple of projects. So yeah.
No, it's a cycle, isn't it? And you just sort of the cycles sort of merge and cross over a lot of the time.
Yeah, they do. It's choosing the idea I find the hardest as well. It's like, which way? I don't know what to do. And often a third one will come from nowhere and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
So you're pretty active on Instagram. Where else can people find you on socials?
Social, so yeah, I've got Blue Sky. I've got all of them really. I think I have TikTok. I'm a bit scared of TikTok, so I'm not on there that much. But everything's Hannah Rose Platt or Hannah Rose Platt official on socials. Mm-hmm.
Well, the new album Fragile Creatures is available now through Extra Mile Recordings. Thank you so much for your time, Hannah. Good luck with the album. Hopefully, I'll get to see you live again soon, especially if you manage to come out here at the end of the year.
Yeah, we're working on it. So I'll keep in touch. And thanks so much for having me. It's been lovely to chat to you.
Thank you. Yeah.